Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi, some big casting details for the Ahsoka series and more. As always my dear Mandalorians, before we dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post a new video. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So before we take a look at the casting news for Star Wars Ahsoka, we're going to take a look at some concept art which has leaked for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. This is by John Hoey from StarWarsNewsNet.com, and his article is Exclusive Images and Details on Hayden Christensen's Return as Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi. The article states the following: in last December's Lucasfilm showcase, and they're referring to Disney Investor Day of 2020, Kathleen Kennedy made it a point to say that Hayden Christensen is going to be returning in the role of Darth Vader. So the $66 million question to which we now have the answer is, why is Lucasfilm bringing back Hayden Christensen to play the role of Vader in the suit? After all, Vader is behind a mask and voiced by James L. Jones, and they used imposing figures Spencer Wilding and Daniel Napris to physically portray the Sith Lord in Rogue One. The question is, why go back to Christensen now? The reason is because we will be seeing Darth Vader without his mask in the series, and as we know from Jordan Mason, we will be getting Clone Wars flashbacks to Anakin as well. Star Wars Newsnet have exclusive photos from the set of Obi-Wan Kenobi and had artist renderings created so that they could share the photos. They also have never before seen concept art of Vader made for this series. The connective theme between all of this is understanding why Christensen is back as Darth Vader specifically. So this is the first picture, and it's new and never before seen concept art of Darth Vader, specifically made for the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi. This image is not a render, it is exactly as was provided on set. They go on to say, we can't confirm whether this photo is beyond the concept stage, but with Hayden Christensen returning to play Vader, it will actually be him this time round and not the mannequin used in Rogue One. And based on the next image that you're going to see, it's a very safe bet that we will see him like this in the series. And next up, what you're looking at is an artist rendering of a huge Bacta tank that was on the Obi-Wan Kenobi set. The article says we have seen the actual photos of the tank and had the rendering made based on it. We are not sure whether the series will use the mannequin as they did in Rogue One, or if we will actually see Hayden Christensen in the tank. But as Star Wars Newsnet say, it really boils down to how deep Deborah Chow wants to develop Vader in the series. Could we see a tormented and pained Vader and what he really has to go through every day to survive, or will the show omit this? That would definitely add some layers of tragedy to the character that we've only seen on the pages of comic books. So now my dear friends, we're going to move on to the third picture, and this was spotted on the Kenobi set by prop maker Andrew Speranza. This is an artist rendering that they made based on photos of the breathing apparatus itself. It was also seen in concept art for the series, but this item was actually on set. This adds merit to the idea that Hayden Christensen is going to be wearing it, as opposed to the mannequin used in Rogue One. I suppose the biggest question is he going to wear it beyond the tank? Will we see Vader maskless at some point in Obi-Wan Kenobi to give the audience more live-action Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader? Star Wars Newsnet believe this is very likely. So after he shows us the concept art, John Hoey in this article says, I believe we will see a maskless Vader well beyond the limitations of a Bacta tank. Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy understand setting and meeting expectations, and you don't bill Hayden Christensen returning for the rematch of the century as Vader if he's only going to show his face briefly. So honestly my friends, this is really awesome to see, as we've all been wondering just how much of Hayden we're actually going to see in the series. So he isn't just going to be in the Vader suit the whole time, and we will see him in the Bacta tank. As I said, we will also get Clone Wars flashbacks of Anakin and Obi-Wan during the Clone Wars, and they might even use the de-aging process on Anakin to make him match what we saw in Revenge of the Sith. But all in all, we probably are going to be getting a lot more of Hayden than was initially anticipated. In a big way, seeing this concept art makes the show finally feel real, if that makes any sense. Ever since it was first announced, it's felt kind of like an abstract show that was many years away that we knew nothing about. But now that we have these concept art leaks, it finally feels real and it's incredible. I also want to point out that John Hoey says at the end of the article, more news is going to drop next week. I'm so stoked for this series, and we're getting ever more closer to it. Obi-Wan Kenobi drops in 2022, although it's not known exactly what month it's going to drop in. Some people have speculated May the 4th, but no one knows just yet. So far, we've had quite a few leaks and rumours for the show, although only a couple have been more or less confirmed. Just to recap what we know, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are going to make their return. It's believed that Rupert Friend is going to be playing Agent Kalos. We know that a young version of Princess Leia is going to play a big role in Obi-Wan's journey. Sith Inquisitors from Rebels are set to appear. Palpatine is also rumoured to be returning for a few episodes, and one of the more wilder rumours that we've got is that Darth Maul is going to make his return, which honestly I think is more and more likely. And when we get closer to the release date, I will be making a video about everything I know about this rumour. Something which isn't yet confirmed by any means but probably will happen in the show is Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force voice. We know that he died before completing his training to learn how to become a Force ghost, but he did so partially, which is why he can manifest as a Force voice. In Revenge of the Sith, Yoda told Obi-Wan that during his solitude on Tatooine, Qui-Gon would train him to become one with the Force. This would still be taking place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, so Qui-Gon speaking to Obi-Wan in the Kenobi series would make a lot of sense, and it's also something that's crucial that they really need to include. Liam Neeson has denied any involvement in the Kenobi series, but of course he has to. Saying anything other than no would definitely give it away, and actors know how to play coy for the press. Now speaking of Yoda and Obi-Wan, it's known that even though the two of them were in exile on two separate planets, Yoda on Dagobah and Obi-Wan on Tatooine, they did in fact keep in touch using the Force. I would absolutely love to see a Yoda cameo from Dagobah as he communes in the Force with Obi-Wan, or even just hear Frank Oz as Yoda speaking to Obi-Wan. It would certainly benefit the prequel nostalgia that many of us will have and please a lot of fans at the same time. This show is definitely going to be massive, and Lucasfilm know that it's their biggest player in the streaming game. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader are some of the most central legacy characters of the whole franchise, and it's a sure winner for Lucasfilm. So I wouldn't be surprised if they went all out and we do see Yoda, Palpatine, and even hear Qui-Gon's voice. But what do you guys think of all of this? What do you make of the concept art? And now let's move on to our final topic. So as we spoke about a few weeks ago, Lucasfilm are looking for their live-action Sabine Wren for the Ahsoka series, the Mandalorian spin-off that features Rosario Dawson. Well, now we know that Tati Gabrielle is the frontrunner for Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka series. This is from Night Edge Media, and they say the following. Earlier this month, several names were revealed to be on the shortlist for the Mandalorian fan favourite Sabine Wren. The actresses up for the role include Lana Condor, Havana Rose Liu, and Tati Gabrielle. They've now heard that Tati Gabrielle is the frontrunner for the role out of the three. I think that Tati is a great choice for Sabine, especially voice-wise. If you listen to interviews of her in the past, they kind of match. I know that a lot of Rebels fans wanted Tia Sakar, the voice actor who voiced Sabine in Rebels, but it's clear now that she probably didn't even audition. The reaction that she gave to fans on Twitter who were calling for her to be cast as the live-action Sabine seemed like while she was very grateful, she wasn't going to take the role. Now we don't know if she was approached by Lucasfilm, but it's very probable that she didn't even consider it. But knowing Dave Filoni's attachment to his characters, especially in Rebels and the Clone Wars, I'm sure that he's going to make the right decision, and there were probably so many factors that contributed to casting the perfect Sabine. Mannerisms, voice, physique, and generally how the actor embodies the character. So some really exciting things to look forward to, both with the Ahsoka series, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course next month we have Visions, and then in December we have the Book of Boba Fett. This is really the best time to be a Star Wars fan. We are so blessed to be going into the golden age of this franchise. I know there's a lot of negativity online, especially with some factions of this community, but the positive side is where it's at. I'm sure we're going to be more than impressed with so many of these shows. I say this a lot on the channel, especially in light of everything that's going on. They are making some big connections to the animated shows and the Skywalker saga. There are going to be tie-ins with Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, The Bad Batch, and of course with the Mandalorian universe, there's already so much tie-in with Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Luke Skywalker. In the next year or so, we're going to be taken on so many new adventures, there's going to be so much to talk about, and as with every show guys, I will be doing full episode breakdowns. So make sure you stick around for those, they're going to be absolutely epic. And just before I go, I want you to tell me which show you're looking forward to the most out of every project. The reason I ask this question is to get a general consensus of my audience. I like to know what you guys want to see on the channel, and which shows you're most interested in. But that, my friends, brings us to the end of this news update. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a huge welcome if you are, and also please be sure to check out my Patreon, the link is down there in the description. But otherwise, I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you are in the galaxy. Have a good one.